I know I look like a hot mess today, and I don't even care. Yeah, so tax filers, the Medicare, when there's money taken out of your deducted from your checks, because that money must go somewhere, and it's channeled to something, and people are having money withdrawn from their labor and from their pay. So they should be entitled to refunding because there are many people who are benefiting off of the working class that should not be, not at the level of which the money's been used and just kind of misappropriated. Some So let's kind of bypass the whole refunding thing for the tax filers. Some policies that need to be advocated or perhaps should be brought in the forefront of whoever gets those things into the you know game of ideas to talk about. They say you could talk to your legislator, your governor. Look, sir and ma'am, you guys go on ahead and do that. I know that you can do that. I'll just lay it here, the groundwork for you. So, some ideals that need to be implemented are, first of all, for folks who are here from another country or are foreigners, okay? Whether they do or don't have green cards, blue cards, whatever, yellow cards, whatever the card colors are, if they're under a program or agency that has given them free services, they need to be like kind of how they have it for CPS, Child Protective Services, where they hold those records for up to like 5 years in their files. It needs to be anyone who enters into the U.S. and does not, whether they do or do not obtain a card as residency here, it needs to be a logging um, of any dependents that are being left in that place of origin or wherever they have came from. If there are children that are belonging to whoever the migrator who has entered into the U.S., if there are children, take a look and take an inventory into what money has been distributed to and from or whatever to those children. If there are no funds that have been properly sent to said dependents. And then I feel that it is a government or an agency's right to garnish certain wages or whatever. I feel that they're entitled to that, and they should get paid a fee for having to go through the process of distinguishing or doing some DNA, whatever. I think actually, as a matter of fact, those who come here and it ends up being that they have children or dependents and they have not been paying for said children or dependents, that should just be like, oh, what do you call it, a lien or something like that? Put that on the books. They should be paying for that and they should be charged for that. It's just all types of fees that folks could be coming up with. People need to be paid their proper due diligence, and folks is showing up over here. They don't have that. Folks don't have a problem with taking advantage of the working class, taking advantage of the money that is deducted from everybody's check pay, their pay stub, the check pay, their pay stub of their earnings at that time period. Everybody gets a little bit of deduction that is sent towards whatever that funding is for. No, you have dependents, folks having dependents and have not they have not been paying. They haven't been paying for the, especially certain what do you say, continents, areas, or countries, whatever, especially when the conversion is pretty good, meaning that, for the exchange rate, you winning. The dollar can go very far. So no, it's unacceptable. And so do the back pay. Somebody needs to be charged. Yeah, they need to charge. They need to come up with a fee for having to go through the process of you know getting all of that information. That's a lot of information. There are a lot of people here who owe a lot of money to a lot of citizens here, and a lot of citizens have not been paid for their services. And I think, I look, you could charge a fee for having to go through the hassle of locating their children, okay? Because we got folks out here paying other people's child support in this country. And nobody want to talk about that. I mean, I could say just like anyone else. I'd be like, I didn't make those kids. Why am I paying for someone else's children? Where's Leroy at? Where's Tom Hanks at? Come on, y'all got to pay for your own kids. Otherwise, why are you having them? Hmm. I would say the next step would be anyone who gets any type of assistance, any type of whether it's food stamps, um, what is it, AMFIP, emergency cash assistance, any of those. You getting any type of incentive or some type of funding, you need to either be enrolled in a educational, you need to be enrolled in some type of school, or you need to be or employed already, or doing both. Because yeah, no, mm-mm, mm-mm. How many children? Why? Why is this many children showing up for what? That's expensive. Who's paying for that? We pay for that. I find it. I found it quite interesting. I remember when I was working, and I was working my ass off. I was working in factory jobs. I mean, I didn't really care. I would do anything. I'd sleep in my car in the parking lot, and then, wake up from my little nap and then drive on to the next job. Because I would work anywhere from 4 to 5 different jobs at a time. I'd go through temp agencies, just all type of. I just was like, I needed to make the money. I had a baby, and I still have a child that, I don't even want to get into that, but nonetheless, I'm not trying to hear it. So, anyways, I worked my ass off. I'd sleep in the car because I didn't really have time to stop at home and really have a life. I needed to make this money. So when I went to go apply for like some food assistance, because I was barely making it, like I was able to make the rent, I was able to get like, Pampers and stuff, and just odds and end things, pay for the phone bill and stuff like that. But I was barely making it. Now, mind you, I wasn't getting no child support, no nothing like that, because the what do we call this? The deviant, I'm going to call him absconder. He practices polygamy and sexual assault. I don't really want to get into it because he's not even worthy of the conversation. Anyways, nonetheless, he was not assisting me, and I didn't even request anything from him because I was like, just to hell with that. His broke ass ain't got no money anyways. Taking advantage of folks. I was very, very young. And nonetheless, yeah, like $20 and shit insulted me. I was like, yeah, just get the fuck out of my face. I'll hustle myself. I'll make my own money. But when I went to the county office, and the lady had told me I made too much money, because they're like, you got to bring the copies of your pay stubs and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here like, what do you mean I make too much damn money? And I'm over here sitting and looking at folks, signing up for all types of food support. They don't have any type of nothing. So it was almost as if, well, now, okay, the interest, it's interesting because I'm denied food support now, even though, I'm not scrawny, I'm not anorexic, I'll be okay. They won't give it to me now either. They're like, they gave it to me for 1 month, and then they're like, nope, they cut me off. Same thing applied for like Social Security, whatever. They're like, oh yeah, we're considering you still mentally disabled, whatever, but we're not going to give you any funding. And I'm just like, whatever. So how have I been getting by? By the grace of God. Shit. I'll be okay. So yeah, I found this quite interesting because it's like as if they're willing to, and by they, the agencies are more willing or reluctant to hand out like candy bars and stuff. If you're not working, you're not trying to do anything with yourself, they'll give you all types of resources and stuff like that. But if you're trying to kind of use it as a more just like a backup resource, they're like, And I was like, I make too much money to get food stamps, because I was like really tired of only being able to feed my child things that just were not acceptable for her. That's kind of what inspired me to go about gardening. And anyways, long story short, what are some other incentives and policies that need to be implemented? If you are a student, you need like a student school, college ID in order to get an exception when you're getting those free bus or train rides. Mm-hmm. Yes. And they need to like mail you. You need to have like something mailed because people are going to always try and take advantage of some type of programming. Go on ahead and get like a certain type of something that can be scanned because there are folks up here who be using the bus for absolutely nothing. They're not on their way to go fill out no job applications, no nothing. They just using it to take a nap on the damn bus. This is ridiculous. Okay. There are people who actually, because I've been there before. It's like you trying to get through the week and you done ran out of your little extra change money, had to spend the last couple of dollars on either like some quarters, roll of quarters for the laundry or something, whatever it is, and not having enough to get to and from work, or if your car broke down, what have we. The free ride should be towards those who are showing up and actually are using that free ride as a ride to get to somewhere. Otherwise it's just like to take a nap on the but you could have done that on the bench or go to a drop-in center. They've got things like that all over these cities in these 50 states. you know these people drive and they show up on time and got to make it to them routes and all them stops. Mm-mm. And having to deal with all types of different varieties of people. Not that they're making money for their organization, but it's like, no, no more of this. No, no, that is for you want a free ride. There, you got to be able to show up for that ride. It's another thing. Like if you're like I said about those social programs, resources, whatever funding, that needs to be for someone who is either in school, college, or is employed. Otherwise, what's the point? You should get a certain amount of time before it's like, nah, there's no excuse. Um, let's see what else. Yeah, no, it should never be somebody just popping up having numerous children, able to sign up for some type of program. Where are the fathers? Find them, get and charge them for the cost of whatever it was for that DNA testing. Oh yeah. Find out yeah, well, you're gonna have to fucking pay for it somehow because these people who are showing up to work on time and having to fork over some of their money for that they didn't have sex and have intercourse to create those kids or for those incentives and programs. They didn't tell these folks from other fucking nations and stuff to come on over here and exploit these programs and so on and so forth. No, absolutely not. What's another one? Mm, I feel like as long as you're working or as long as you're enrolled in school or both, or um, you're doing some type of even if it's volunteering, it needs to be some real volunteer stuff, some community garden. You got to be showing up. I feel like there's no excuse as to why anybody's out here snatching up kids and women and even males to traffic people around in this damn world to make $1. Mm-mm. Or to make a mixtape about how you hate bitches and shit like that. No, no. Mm-mm. What else are some policy? Oh, if an employee works in the food industry or anything where there's food or a surplus of things, let's go to the food part. So, the employee I've worked in a lot of food chains and dining and, you know, what do you call it? Waitressing, and there's a surplus of food um, in any restaurant setting, whatever. When there is food, leftovers, whatever, rather than just throwing it away to acquiesce to they throw it away because these companies don't want to be sued if any type of like more, not more, but what do you call it? Food poisoning or anything like that, or allergy reaction. They don't want to be liable, because they would have to you know, be liable and have to pay that, whatever. So to solve that, or the remedy for that would be that if an employee, well, first of all, when they get on board, okay, and this would have to be something that occurs first of all in that whether catering, food, whatever, leftover food. So when you're doing the hiring, the I-9 and stuff, you can explain it to them. They can opt in or opt out. For those who are like, some folks are college students or in school, high school, working part time. They're hungry, or there's some folks got kids at home. I mean, it's normal, you know, realistic family lives and cultures. So, anyways, not everybody may want to opt in, but you can explain it to them as the policy, like, we serve thousands of people every day. Oftentimes we have leftover food, and rather than just throwing it away and wasting all that food, um, an employee, somebody who was working that shift or whatever, maybe came in or whatever, they should be able to sign a whatever document. They have to go over, maybe list their allergies and stuff like that. So if there are certain foods, whatever, that you can put maybe the ingredients of whatever it is on there, so that they know. It's up to that employee to be able to fact check whether they can eat those leftovers. So if they're signing and they're saying, okay, whatever, have it to where it's like, in the case, or in the strange case that you just don't care about your health that much, you can't retaliate and sue this company, if you choose to partake in being resourceful, or taking these leftovers home to your children, whatever. It's a risk, but to work for us, rather than just throwing this food away, and to save ourselves and to keep us protected and whatever, here's what we're offering, rather than just throwing this food away. Because I feel this whole discount thing that a lot of companies do is ridiculous. If these people are working for you, come on now, they're on schedule. No, then the discounts should be for like college students, or whatever. That's what the discounts for: children, college students, whatever, or other workers, whatever, that maybe work within the same type of what union or something. That there's that yeah, that's that. But if it's an actual employee and there's a surplus or abundance or leftover food, and your employees are hungry, they have children, they have dogs, whatever it may be, rather than just throwing it away and being wasteful of it, make sure that they have like an addendum or something that they can sign. And it's like, here you have to sign, print, label, blah blah blah. Make sure if you have any allergies, maybe to put it down. And it's like, okay, you can put like a sticker on the thing, like if there's a surplus of it, put an orange sticker for nuts or whatever it is, so that people will know, like, hey, if you want to take it home, if you want to eat it for lunch, rather than charging them, since they're working there already, and the folks are going to throw it away anyways. It's kind of like so then the other side of that, for folks that are maybe not in a food industry, or are in like a retail industry, and there's like, oh, there's food that's about to be expired, things like that, or quick trip and stuff like that, same kind of applies. But however, when it comes to material things, because I used to like work in a candle factory, like we would make candles, and sometimes we'd mess up on a batch or something, or maybe did whatever it was, there was a defect or something, or some things tend to expire or break the glass, like the ceramics and stuff. So rather than just throwing it away or trying to charge those who are working for that company, I mean, I would get so irritated because it'd be like, oh, you can't take that home. Why? Because it's broken glass. I'm a grown adult. If I cut myself, it's my own damn fault, and I'm not gonna do anything about it. Get it in signing, get it in black and white, that if there is an accident like that and you do take something home, it's on you. So there'd be no legal retaliation. There will be no tort, no nothing. It's on what do you call that? It's their personal selection or choice, and you can get that in an addendum when they're doing their I-9, when you're hiring them on board, and have that in their files and be like, they can't later turn around and be like, oh well, no, you signed something, and that's kind of the exchange, rather than just throwing away the product maybe that had a defect or whatever. Maybe something's expired, it just expired today. There's like Cub Foods, or big retail, not retail, but grocery stores, that things are going to expire today or within the next couple hours. They throw it away, they get it out the way. Give that to the employees, please. Let them have access to it, because I've seen in many jobs where food was just, and it was like, how could you do that? Like a fresh pan of macaroni and cheese, served like doing catering at gala events and stuff. Bunch of rich elite celebrities, and they're not really hungry. They sure was drinking that alcohol, but they wasn't really eating the food, and I don't blame them. The reason why I say that is because it's like when you have that type of money, you probably do look at people like, did they poison my food? But I was like, the food that didn't even make it touch the plates, or we'd get plates back from the dining halls and stuff, and the tables. There was that food wasn't even touched. It was still sitting in the same with how it was dished. I'm like, oh my gosh! And they're like, the supervisors, or the oversight, you can't eat that. I'm like, what do you mean we can't eat that? We're over here slaving away making this food for these people. They're not even touching this damn food. Trays of food, 5-course meals and stuff. They're not touching none of this. They were just throwing away. Oh, that was so harmful. It was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. Mm-mm. I was like, why? Why can't I eat it? I should be allowed to. He's like, no, because if something were to happen to you, if you get sick, whatever, the company does not want to be liable. We don't want to get sued. I'm like, fuck y'all. I'm here temporarily anyways. So that's something that can be implemented as a policy, I feel like, and people who work for that company should get the first dibs on things like that, especially if that's their shift, they're working at it, whatever, however that goes, because it happens a lot. And rather than just being wasteful and throwing stuff away, or allowing people to do dumpster diving, just allow the people who are working for that company, showing up, showing on time, if there's that type of ordeal where there's a lot of leftovers, a lot of things that happen, give it to them. Just have them sign, whatever, so that they can't turn around and try and sue later. What's another thing? I think that was pretty much it. I don't know. I think that was pretty much it. If there's some other things that come up, I guess you could say, yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, that should be good for now. Some policies to really implement. The thing was for the food, first dibs for people who work for you, get them to sign an addendum or something that gets them to, acknowledge that they understand what they're doing, to put down their allergies if they have any. So, do some precautions like that. But you'll have it in black and white, basically, to where, you know, anything that they get that the company, corporation, a warehouse, whatever has, it's for people who work for them, whatever. And then for programming agencies, social services, whatever, folks who, after a certain, I guess, amount of time, maybe give them a year or so, if they are not then enrolled in some type of school, higher education, or actively in school, or employed part-time or full-time, whatever, then discontinuance of those programs, because that's exploitation. Another one, the policy was folks who are coming into the United States, and whether they have a card or some type of whatever visa, or whatever, whether they do or don't have that, or they're receiving services from some type of agency that's being funded by taxpayers, like VAWA, Violence Against Women's Act, or whatever. Um, Basically, that their DNA or prints need to be filed. They need to be paying people to store that information as well. There should be nobody here in from another state, or not state, but nation, country, whatever, that has children back home or wherever they just left from, and they're not in the person who is showing up in the US has children that they're not paying for. They're not sending currency to fund those children that they had nerve enough to leave behind. And they should, I mean, honestly, I would consider it a crime if somebody has children from the country, nation that they just left, and they know that these children are alive. It's not a secret. And then they come here to the US and then repeat that offense. So you're going to leave children over there, not show up for them, not send them any funding back home. You have a mother who's in like a third world country or whatever, who doesn't have assistance for those children that you left her with, but then you're going to come over here and make more? Oh no. Their DNA prints and information on if they owe, if they have dependents, and then also to have like some type of, I guess you could say, what do you call that? Whatever, interconnection or agency, whatever protocol. Okay, so whoever shows up over here, they got your prints, you got some identifying margin, and it happens that they have children. They make the people who are coming here from another nation also pay. They have to pay for their paternity test. Yes, for their DNA testing. Absolutely, they have to pay for that, because they should know what children they have. I don't care, U.S. citizen or not, having a bunch of frivolous ass sex. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. People need to be held accountable. Folks need to be paid for their services. These agencies need to be paid for their data services, all that storage. It's a lot of fucking work. And people shouldn't just be coming over here, receiving all types of benefits and stuff, and got all types of unmet responsibilities all over the place, and it's just creating more problems. And then other people are having to show up, work harder, have parts of their labor, their payout being taken from them to support someone else who is not being as responsible, or you could say gracious. Not everybody's entitled to these programmings. Folks be treating these people who are serving and funding and doing all this as if, oh, that's something that they're entitled to. Well, if it's there and people are doing that, then there needs to be a lot of protocol, a lot of measures in place, and folks who are coming over here should be held accountable. They should pay for that. Matter of fact, I don't know how anyone could be coming over here and leaving children behind in their wake, wherever they came from, and then have nerve enough to not know that those kids exist. So then the agency that collects that data with them as well, um, that agency that's collecting this data as well in these different nations, countries, whatever, then if there's any type of matches, or it is found out, oh yes, the paternity DNA testing, oh yes, because then it just creates more security for all types of things. That folks need to be able to cash in and get their damn money, because folks is over here just exploiting left and right. That was another thing. English. Okay, folks is over here, they don't want to learn English. There's people who are interpreters and they get paid, sure they do, but it's like, nobody's trying to learn the language. Why aren't people trying to appropriate to the culture, but this is okay? No. You've been here for how many years and you haven't even been trying to learn the language? Unacceptable. Mm-mm. They should almost be forced to take a class or something and make them pay for that, or have a part of their checks taken out and given to the communication the translator network for that state, because I mean, somebody's paying for it. They need to pay for it. They're the ones using the services. Anyways, that should be it for now. If I get any more that come across my head, I'll let you know.